Okay, so good afternoon, Dr. Michelle Maidenberg, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's an honor for me to have Doctor with us today, and I trust that we also may feel privileged to be in her presence. I just want to share a little bit of her since she wears many caps, and I have to read them. So, Doctor is a private practice in Harrison, New York. She's also a founder and clinical director of Through My Eyes, a nonprofit organization that offers free clinical guided videotaping. I'm so curious to know about that.
Sure.
Videotaping for medically ill individuals who want to leave videotaping legacy for their children. She's also on the board of directors. I'm sorry.
That's
She's
okay.
a board of director member at the Boys and Girls in Mount Vernon. She is also a member of the American Red Cross Crisis Team and serve on the board of directors of the Westchester Trauma Network, WTN in Westchester, New York. She's also a certified group therapist through the American Group Psychotherapy Association and a diplomat and certified member of the Academic of Connective Therapy. She is also author of the book Free Your Child from Overeating, 53 Mind-Body Strategies for Lifelong Health, a new book called ACE. Doctor is also a contributing editor of Group, the Journal of Eastern Group Psychotherapy Society. She's also a consultant and trainer on a variety of mental health and health-related topics, and she's dedicated and invested in health and mental health advocacy. So, Doc, this is a long list of careers
Yes.
that you have. I'm
Thank
so I'm just curious to know how you handle these. Do you do them all at once or on different stages in your life?
um thank you for asking. And so nice to
You're
meet
welcome.
you.
You too.
So yeah, I think I do everything kind of collaboratively and conjointly. It depends on what's going on. I mean, I just published my book. It's, that's called Ace Your Life, which stands for acceptance, compassion, and empowerment. And that's how I break it down.
Right.
I do my private practice, I teach, I do a whole bunch of different things. I actually love the fact that that I'm doing a lot of different things because it keeps things active and vibrant and really keeps my passion dedicated to the work that I do. And I really love with my full heart every single thing that I do. I really put my all into my work and the people that I work with.
So when do you get to do self-care or this would consider to be self-care?
Yes. That's a good question. So I am an avid exerciser. I'm a fitness person, and I've been working out for the past 30 years, and I work out 6 days a week. So I'm pretty religious about it. I haven't taken off from working out except when I gave birth because I had to.
Okay.
And my doctors, and I also, took off for a short period of time, for as short of a period of time as I could, because I really wanted to get back into it. But so that is to me the epitome of my self-care is I really put effort. So before I go into my practice every morning, I work out. That is
Awesome.
something, yeah, that's something that's part of my life. Another thing that I do is I meditate. And that's a really important part of my life as well. So I try my best, but I do try to do 20 minutes a day, as much as I can. So those are two things that I really put a lot of focus in on. And I'm doing my own personal work. I'm in therapy, I'm always reading, I'm always, kind of keeping up with the trends of what's going on in mental health. I'm a big advocate. So, and again, you might not consider the self-care, but for me, when I'm advocating on behalf of people, who maybe can't advocate for themselves or aren't situations obviously that they need advocacy. Like I'm out there.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
It's not so much about me today. However, both of
Yeah.
us are collaborating for the sake of audience. So I just want to share, as we are
Sure.
speaking on mental health, it is a broad umbrella. And as
Sure.
you speak of an advocate, I must say I'm also in work with a nonprofit organization. And what we do, we are the IMT team, which stands for Intensive Mobile Treatment. And what
Mm,
we do, we bring the care out to the individual where they are on the street. So on the team, we have three behavioral therapists. We have an RN, and we have a practitioner, and we have
mm,
two peer specialists. I'm a New York State certified peer
mhm,
specialist. And just a brief summary of how I come about being a peer specialist. Back in Jamaica, where I'm from, at the age of 17, when I give birth to my second child, I start experiencing some strange and weird feelings. And I didn't know what is it. I didn't understand what is going on with my body, and I know, a new baby need a mother's love and attention and to cuddle them. But I couldn't do that because
mm.
something had happened to me in the moment, and I have to be caring for myself. So anyhow, I went to my doctor, and they diagnosed me back then with nervous breakdown. My therapist here said, I hate that word. It sounds like a
Yeah.
car or
Yes.
something breakdown.
Yes.
But anyhow, this is the term they used back there. And I struggle with it in this dark phase of my life, and have this young baby. And number one, I'm still I'm 17 years old. I have a baby, and I'm dealing with mental health issues. So now I have three things to be focusing on, which was so overbearing and traumatic for me. Anyhow, to fast forward things, I came to America, and I realized how much they care for people. My earphone can stay in. But anyhow, how they care so much for people with mental health. They just don't brush them to the side and expect them to care for themselves. There's
Yeah.
a lot of knowledge and programs here that anyone who really
Yeah.
need help could go and get help. So I have a care coordinator who usually comes to visit me in my home, and she told me about How with the Harp. I don't know if you heard of How with the Harp. It's a training program up in Harlem in Manhattan, where they give you intensive training, a 6 months training, and after that you graduate and you go on a work internship. And
Great.
so that's how I come about being a peer advocate. So
Mm,
that my role is a peer advocate for mentally ill people coming from jail and what have you. So with you being an advocate, I think that we have the same,
yes.
insight
Yes.
on things. So you have quite a few things here. So how would you go about helping people or people with
Mhm.
mental health to do self-love and self-help and self-care? What advice you have for them?
Yeah. So I work a lot around our values, and that is a big, big crux of the work that I do. And I really help people tap into what their core values are, which again, you may say to yourself, oh, I know what my values are, but we really don't know them until I do a lot of exercises around this to get them really connected to that. Because you're not going to, if you're stuck and there's either mental health issues or physical issues or whatever type of issues that are getting in the way, you're not going to readily just make changes and transformations.
Mm-hmm.
There's a barrier there. There's a barrier.
Yes.
So it's part of understanding what the barrier is, and then also understanding and connecting to what's actually important to you. And once you're able to develop all of that, which I talk through in my book, right, how to get to that place. And it's really work that we do over the course of our life, through our development, and we continue to do throughout our life. So there's no endpoint,
Right.
to development and evolution. And I help to give those skills and those tools so that you're constantly, when you're making decisions on behalf of yourself, when you're thinking about, how you want to be behaving, when you react to things, you're going to be mindful and you're going to do it with conscious awareness rather than just doing it impulsively or what's familiar to you or what your nervous system tells you to do. It's going to be a lot more conscientious and it's going to be more mindful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You mentioned we don't have much time, so I'm like going through. You mentioned about the videotaping. Could you share some much of the videotaping you
Sure.
use with the clients?
Sure. So the nonprofit is called Through My Eyes. What I do, which is, really important, is when somebody's, has chronic illness or they're end of life care, often they want to leave a video legacy for their children and loved ones.
Wow. Wow.
And what I found is that most people will write, they'll write letters, they'll do something, but most people don't create a video, an actual video where you're hearing the person's voice, you're seeing them, which is a very different experience. So I've created a questionnaire of over 200 questions that goes through a person's life, literally from development and childhood through illness.
Right.
And again, and they actually decide what they want to talk about and what they don't want to talk about. So each questionnaire is customized to the person's preference and their needs. And even the way we create the videos is also, tailored to what they want to get out of it. So I've done over 300 videos in the course
That's a
of my life.
lot.
Yeah. And it's been such an incredibly wonderful experience, particularly because people always say to me, like, I never would have done this if I didn't have access to this service and I never would have known about it. And, I'm so glad that I could leave this legacy and I could share with my family, life lessons or things that I want them to remember about me or whatever it is, again, that they hope to get out of it. And they're always so appreciative that it's therapeutic for them. It's therapeutic that they get to express this and be heard.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an awesome way to do it. As we evolve into this technology world, there's so much things that is out there that we can, use and as a form of what you're doing. And I know sounds new, and of course, it's a new thing. So I'm assuming that people do love this way of remembering their loved ones who have gone. I wish I've done something like that with my father, who is late for 14 years. My father has a very strong voice, just as how you heard my voice. That's how my father was, and I always wish I could hear that voice again, but nothing didn't happen. We didn't do a video recording.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I find this very fulfilling for people who are taking advantage of it. And how established is this? Like, is it?
So it's a nonprofit. I'm actually going through restructuring right now, and I am looking for partnerships, and because I really want to bring the platform so that it is actually available more widely nationally. And I'm having a little bit of a hard time, so I'm really looking for people who are interested, to collaborate with. And I had to take down the website. I'm recreating the website as well. But the best way, if you wanted or needed the service, is really to get through by phone. I'm gonna just say what the phone number is, which
Yes,
is
you could.
914-725-1836. And again, I'm getting the website back up, but it's 914-725-1836. And I'm, like I said, I'm always happy to help. The service is actually free of charge, and which is important because when somebody's going through an illness and they're incurring so much expenses, we
They
don't
can't
want them.
take on any more expense. Yes.
Exactly. So we want to offer this for free,
That's so
for them.
awesome.
Yeah.
And very, very considerate of others. I'm listening to you and I could hear the humility and the empathy you have for those ailing people, because you're thinking of, okay, if they're going through this, why should I put on more or financial strain on them? So it's
That's right.
good the way how you're doing it. And I wouldn't get into the details how you found it. You probably know how well you're handling that. It's just that the help is there, and it's there for people who willing to accept it. So
Yes. And sometimes I
Yes,
have to say that sometimes people, unfortunately, they don't want to accept kind of the position they're in, which is understandable. So sometimes people reach out, when it's too late. So I always say it's like an insurance policy. You pay for it, but you don't ever expect to use it, right? It's sort of the same.
right.
Like you could go into remission and you could, heal and get better. It's a gift, right?
Awesome. Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on the topic of mental health, Doc, what has led you to be so involved in mental health? Do you have a story? What have had,
Everybody has a story.
but what has
So
inspired you and motivate
So
you?
a lot of things have inspired me. For one, and I didn't realize this till later on, but I have four grandparents that are Holocaust survivors.
Oh,
Yeah, and most of their families were actually murdered, in
oh,
concentration camps, and unfortunately, they were very fortunate that they lived, and that had to do a lot with their age and etc. They were able to work, but I heard stories about, the atrocities and what they went through since I was a little tiny little girl. I didn't understand it when I was little, but as I got older, I think I really developed this strong empathy and compassion, particularly for my grandparents and their plight, so that it started me off from day one.
yes.
There was a lot of intergenerational trauma, that happened because of my grandparents, so that's one. Number two, I'm an empath by nature. I really feel on a really deep, deep, compassionate level. So when somebody feels pain, I feel their pain. Literally, I feel their pain. And I always, want to be helpful and thoughtful towards other people. I live for that. I really do. It's part of my, makeup. um, and then the other thing also is I found that I always thought, interestingly enough, oh, anybody could do the work I do. No big deal. Like, right. But I realized that you have to have this intuitiveness and this humanism and ability to connect and engage with people. And I do really consider myself, a person who can connect on a very deep level with others. So, there's a lot of reasons, again, and my parents divorced when I was 3. I went through a lot, as a child. And, there's a lot here, in terms of my own personal story. So I've always been a natural born therapist, a natural born advocate, a natural
Wow.
born, person to connect since I was very, very young. And I knew what I wanted to do. I think I can't remember when I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word empath, and I only learned this later on in my life when I realized that, I used to be in the home care field, like a home health aide,
Yeah.
and I used to be so sick
Yes.
working with these people. And I go to my doctor, my psychiatrist, and she was saying, you can't do that. You can't take on people, sickness and all of these things. But I just didn't know how. It was a natural thing. And I happened to be talking
Yes.
to this young lady, and she says, you're an empath. I said, what's an empath? First I
Yeah.
ever hearing this word. And she sent me a whole summary on what an empath is and the things and the
Yeah.
symptoms and stuff. And I said, I didn't know there was such a thing. And
Yes.
of course, there was such a thing. And it's
Yeah.
hard when you're going through certain things in your life and you have to explain. It could be very hard because the
Mhm.
person or the individual may not understand and know the root of this, the where this is coming from. And
Yes.
for you to explain sometimes it's very hard. So with you mentioning that, I must say that I just recently learned about being an empath. I'm very empathetic, as you says. I
Yes.
hate to see
Yes.
people suffer, and these kind of emotions get in the way.
Yes.
I have one more question to ask since
Sure.
I have to be rushing. So,
Yes.
how do our core values help guide us in making sound decisions to foster our satisfaction and contentment for thriving life? As we all, encounter life
Mhm.
day on, we want to know how can we, you know, have these core
Values.
guide to,
Sure.
yes,
Sure. Yes. And you called it a guide, which is a perfect way
yes,
of saying it. So once we're very, very clear on what our core values are, we could define what that means to us, and we could actually state what we're going to do behaviorally, what actions we're going to take in order to lean into those core values. The important part of it is it's a very empowering approach. So in other words, let's say, you're lax on your parenting value for whatever reason, your child frustrated you and you yelled at them and whatever, right? It happens. Instead of saying I am a horrible parent or I'm not a good parent or etc., which we do, we're very hard on ourselves because it's so important to us. You could say, today I didn't really lean into my parenting value as much as I wanted to, and tomorrow I'm going to really make a keen effort to lean into that value because that is so incredibly important to me. So again, instead of getting in a spot, because when you see yourself as a bad parent, okay, you get sad, you get frustrated, there's less of a chance that you're actually going to change your behavior because you're putting yourself down, and it decreases your confidence and your kind of self-efficacy. If you encourage yourself and you see that you have the ability, then you will thrive, then you will make change, then you will transform. So, we think, that it's kind of passé, when we talk about, for example, tough love and, negative, right, reinforcement, those things don't work. We know that, according to research, it doesn't work. We need to actually have positive reinforcement. We need to encourage rather than put down. And those are things we need to do for ourselves. And we're never, ever taught how to be self-compassionate or how to exhibit self-love, ever. We're not taught that. It's not a skill we're taught. We need to learn that. That's a really important skill.
Awesome. So, for the sake of the audience, Doctor, what form of encouragement, based on the topics that we've been speaking about, what encouragement do you want to leave with them? Also, if you want to share your link on your website, you're free to do so.
Thanks.
So that people can meet you.
Thanks. So again, it's really, I hope you'll consider buying my book, of course, because I feel like it's a roadmap to get you where you want to go in regards to what I'm talking about, obviously. So this is the book. It's called Ace Your Life, Unleash Your Best Self and Live the Life You Want. And again, it's really gives you step by step. It gives you exercises at the end of each chapter. There's a guided meditation, with my recording. So I also am a Psychology Today blogger. So I'm constantly creating and publishing articles on all different types of topics. Everything's on my website, everything. There's a lot of information on it. There's guided meditations. I have a YouTube channel, which has weekly guided meditations that get published. There's articles. There's a lot of information. If you want to learn, place to go is my website.
Awesome.
It's my full name, which is michellemaidenberg.com, which is Michelle, 2 L's. Maidenberg is MAIDENBERG. Again, MAIDENBERG. michellemaidenberg.com, and you'll have all that information.
Awesome. I myself, I want to also, add on to your advice that I also started a book in May, and hopefully I'll get my book before Christmas as a Christmas gift. It's called Shuttered Reflection, A Journey Through Mental Health. Shuttered Reflection, A Journey Through Mental Health. It will be on Amazon and also Barnes and Noble. For those who want to learn more and about me and being inspired by what is in the book, it's coming up soon, so you can put away your money so you can buy a copy of my book. And it's just a pleasure to have Doctor. And I just want to say you're so humbled to take the opportunity to be here with me today. I just want to say thanks.
My pleasure.
Thanks to be here and to share with the audience. There's so many people out there who are suffering and struggling and do not have a voice. So for us to be on and to share the information or our story or our experience in life, it can also benefit and help others. And I just want to say thanks again for your presence. I wish we could chat some more, but
Yeah.
time is limited. I will definitely bring you on another time to speak on
Sure.
some of your more topics on relationship issues and stuff like that. So I just want to say thanks for coming on, and I wish for you a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Don't
You
eat
too.
too
And thank
much.
you so much. Nice to meet you.
All right. So
Yeah. Thank
yes,
you.
stop the recording now. Thank you very much.